people? I'm Jaby joined by ACHARA KIRK.
What's up?
We're looking at Rocket Boys, the official trailer. The official trailer from SonyLiv Originals. You guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, bell icon, all notifications, and pretty please vote this. I am struggling to get through this intro. Hit the subscribe button, bell icon, all notifications, and vote this up to let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching. Rocket Boys. I assume that this has something to do with Israel or something about space and
Most
flying.
likely, yes.
So one of my favorite movies of all time is October Sky, which deals with something similar. So
I thought you were going to say Interstellar.
I'm imagining that there's some degree of similarity between the two stories.
Okay.
But this is without me knowing anything at all, going into this completely ignoramus. Here we go.
The lunatic brown kid is blowing up the courtyard again.
प्रभु रॉबर्ट गॉडर्ड 15 साल पहले ही करिश्मा कर चुके, तो फिर मैं क्यों नहीं कर सकता? अब पीछे आ जाओ, ये फट भी सकता है।
Oh.
Let's drink to that.
Unfortunately, हमारे लिए नहीं. Now, who can tell me what this is? Don't touch those. अब जापान की वजह से हमें रबर नहीं मिल रहा. फिर हम क्या करें, रमन?
Why don't you try using another material? Polyethylene sheets की tensile strength rubber से ज़्यादा है.
What was your major again?
Natural science, sir, but I have a particular interest in physics.
विक्रम साराभाई, तुम एक brilliant scientist हो. और जो तुम अपने देश के लिए कर सकते हो, उस लाखों की भीड़ में और कोई नहीं कर सकता.
आपने नाम नहीं बताया अपना?
Mrinalini.
It's like gravity. She puts lights on things I didn't know about myself.
Are you going to kiss me, Vikram?
So you're the famous homie Bhavya.
And you are the
Parwana Irani, मेरा पूरा नाम.
Parsiest name I've ever heard in my life.
सर तो कॉस्मिक रे यूनिट बंद कर रहे हैं.
Cosmic ray unit was the only lab जहाँ मैं अपने रॉकेट बनाने का सपना सच कर सकता था, और तुम इसे ही बंद कर रहे हो? I wish I had known you were this selfish man.
I am a selfish man. Happy? You've been assembling that rocket in your garage for months, for years, in fact. I can't wait around for things to happen to me. The train is leaving the station, my friend. Are you on it? Or have you been left behind?
Wow.
पंडित जी, मेरा एक प्रपोजल है. इंडिया स्पेस प्रोग्राम सर.
इस वक्त हमारी जरूरतें कुछ और हैं.
कल सुबह 6 बजे चीन की पीपल्स लिबरेशन आर्मी ने भारतीय सीमा पर 2 हमले किए.
Gentlemen, it's the proposal to make India's first atom bomb.
अगर मैं कहूँ होमी नेहरू से छिपकर बम बनाने की कोशिश कर रहा है तो?
ये कमेटी सिर्फ एक एडवाइजरी कमेटी है जिसका काम है
to advise the correct use of atomic energy. और इस वक्त देश की सही जरूरत है एक एटॉमिक बम.
देश क्या तुम्हारी?
Wow.
सर एक एप्लीकेंट आया फॉर एन इंटरव्यू. सर एक बार मिल लीजिए, काफी इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहा है, काफी दूर साउथ से है.
APJ अब्दुल कलाम.
Oh, okay.
That's cool. If I was Abhay Panu, I think I'd be a little frustrated.
Why?
Because they gave away a lot of the story in that trailer. It's very exciting stuff. They were showing you like in a very linear way, the entire trajectory of the story. And so like you kind of know where this all ends up, you know?
It's history, isn't it? So presumably
Even if it's history, so Apollo 13's history, but you still get like so involved in the story when you're watching the movie, you kind of forget that it's history. Your suspension of disbelief takes over, you know?
Sure. I mean, I don't know anything about this, really. Like, I don't know the real life counterparts. I don't know the characters. And so it is really interesting to me, like how dramatic this story is. But yeah, I guess you did just kind of see the whole thing. You see them come together, like the mentor and the young guy, the student, and then they separate, and then a new cool person comes in.
I'm definitely intrigued. I definitely would want to watch this story. It's definitely a subject matter that I'm intrigued by. It's interesting to me what it's highlighting here in the trailer, which is, you know, our main character is trying to start ISRO, or just an Indian space initiative of some kind.
Yeah.
And the government is basically telling him, like, our needs are totally different right now. That is not important. When
We need bombs.
The fascinating part about that is, in American history, that those two were linked because we were in a space race with Russia, supposedly.
Yes.
There's some conspiracy theory suggesting otherwise. Like, historically known is that we were in a space race with Russia. They got Sputnik up into space, and then we put our first man on the moon.
Yeah.
Right? For us, it's tied together. I guess India was different. Like, they were dealing with like stuff on the ground, and that was the priority, is dealing with the enemy.
Sure.
At the gates, as it were. And instead of this like space program, like, no one's worried about that, Even though I didn't love the movie First Man, the idea intrigued me a lot because we are riding on the shoulders of giants today.
Yes.
In every possible way. Something as simple as the phone that we each have in our pockets, like, this is thanks to space technology. You know what I mean?
Sure.
In a lot of ways, in a lot of fundamental ways. This stuff is all fascinating to me, to see like the very infancy of ISRO and how all of that came to be. India putting stuff in space. It's just craziness,
Yeah, well, I guess for me, because I'm always just drawn to story and characters, and yes, while the whole thing about space is cool too, I'm just more interested in the relationships that are being shown here, and just kind of the big characters, the big egos that are clashing. Because I guess you don't really think about these types of things in your everyday life. Like you say, we take a lot of these things for granted, right? And so it is interesting to kind of see the real people who were behind it. I understand that it's a dramatization, like, I don't know if the whole love story aspect of it was such a big deal. Obviously, it makes for a more entertaining show, an entertaining movie all around. If there's like a romance or something like that, which I thought was cute. They added in here and showed, because it's like, oh, there's a little bit of something for everyone, I
think what you're saying there is actually a very good point, because it's humanizing these scientists and these engineers and whatnot, as opposed to it just being this sort of like vague thing, like, oh yeah, people did it.
Yeah.
Because when you think about stuff like the iPhone, right?
Yeah.
And you like, well, they're engineers in China who are putting these things together, or now it's India, right? Who are just putting these things together. They're not people in your brain, this conglomerate that's just making these things like a machine. Mm-hmm. Right? You're not thinking them as individuals, as human beings.
Sure.
Whereas if you had a story that was like emphasizing them, highlighting them, then that would be something else. And so that's what I like about this, because otherwise it's a name in the textbook or in an article you read.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's not as meaningful or as impactful, as touching as something like a movie where you can actually like get involved with their lives like vicariously for a bit.
Yeah, and it's the conflict as well, like that friction between the two characters who seemed to, be so close in the beginning, and then later on you kind of see how they had different ideas about what should be done and they separated. It's very, very compelling.
Well, I think they come back together at some point in their
careers.
You think so? I don't know, maybe. Like, it seems like their paths overlap at some point again. It has to. And Jim Sarbh is a big character in the show,
yes.
So I would imagine it overlaps again, and he comes back into contact with him, has to work with him.
I mean, I feel like it's probably something where they follow both of those characters. Like, they're both important characters, but Jim Sarbh is lending his name to the series, and he's like their big star. Maybe they're spending a lot of budget on him just to kind of have his name attached to it, so that at least there's like a recognizable movie star attached to the project. And so presumably more people would watch the trailer and in turn watch the show because Jim Sarbh is in it, and we know that he chooses excellent projects to work on and that he's a very competent actor.
As much as I was a little bit frustrated by this ad giving away so much of the show, I thought that they did a good job of making it feel exciting.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
This can be very dry information to the uninitiated. Like, it's like, what do they do? It just has this momentum to the whole thing and this excitement to the whole thing that I think was really strong.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would get your casual person who may not have any even cursory interest in this, watching this and learning about history and maybe developing an interest in this field. You know what I mean? Because so many people now like are more interested in like becoming YouTubers or TikTokers and stuff like that, or all kinds of random stuff. And we need more people who are interested in this field, because this is what is taking humanity to the next level.
Yeah, I do want to point out that SonyLiv has done one of the most successful Indian shows in recent years, right? They did Scam 1992, which was also based on real events, real people, and they did a fantastic job with that show. And so based off of that, I'm like, there is a very good chance that this could also be a really great show to watch.
Yeah, they also did Spider-Man. You guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Hopefully you enjoy that, and do subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell icon, all notifications, and vote this up to let YouTube know you enjoyed what you watched. I'm Jaby KOAY. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.